Hi, we're Dmitry and Olga.
And here is our caravan.
And today we are going on a classic Norwegian trip. Our goal is a hike to the cliff Preikestolen. On the way we will stop in the oil capital of the country, Stavanger, and we'll walk along its streets and seafronts. We usually avoid super touristic places, but now it's the beginning of June and there is a hope that there won't be too many tourists on the trail. Stavanger is located on the west coast of Norway, and from the city of Fredrikstad it's about an 8-hour drive. We decided to cover this distance in one go to save time and to catch a small break in the rainy weather forecast. So we stop only for a warm up and short coffee breaks. And of course to refuel the car.
So, are you curious how much is fuel in oil-producing country?
A full tank of our car, that is 1,500 Norwegian crowns. And it's very unpleasant, but the desire to travel is much stronger. If you go straight to Stavanger, as we did today along the E18 and then the E39, then the road is quite monotone. Although there are unexpected moments, like a horse on the bridge controlling the road traffic. And beautiful views begin closer to Stavanger. Here we turn on the scenic road Jæren, which goes along the sea.
Very nice place. We'll camp here for the night.
There is everything you need for a great evening. Sunset, sea, benches, and the rest we took with us. A perfect ending to the first day.
Hi, it's so hard to wake up on rainy morning.
And the rain doesn't seem to be stopping. Completely different landscapes than yesterday. Classic weather of the west coast of Norway. But it's time to move on. And it looks like we have our own personal rainy cloud that moves along with us.
On our way to Stavanger, we stopped in Sula.
And these are probably the biggest sandy beaches in Norway.
So let's put on our hoods and go for a walk. In general, this entire coastline is the Jærstrandene landscape conservation area. And there are many plants and long beaches that are not typical for Norway.
Well, Norway is not only stones, but sand as well.
And when the wind is blowing from the right direction, this is a favorite spot for Norwegian surfers. Unfortunately, you can't fly a drone here. The Sula airport is very close to the coast. The main airport of the city of Stavanger. Our campsite is also located nearby, and while we were driving in and shaking out the sand from the beach and setting up the caravan, the cloud finally flew away.
So the weather is getting better. Let's see Stavanger.
And even roads have dried up. a great bonus of traveling in the summer. Stavanger is a beautiful city on the west coast of Norway. It is also called the oil capital because after the discovery of oil in the North Sea, the city became a coastal base of the oil industry.
And if you are eager to learn more, visit the Oil Museum.
Inside you will get full information about the origin of oil, its production and its importance for Norway. And there are many models of various equipment. And not only models, the museum is definitely interesting. Next to the museum there is a colorful themed playground that attracts even adults. Everything it is made of relates to the sea and oil production, or even taken from real oil platforms and was once part of them. We recommend jumping on the playground. It's really fun.
And this is offshore fleet, which can be often met in the very center of the city.
In fact, you can see very different ships moored to the shore in Stavanger. Even super yachts like this one come here, and it's always spectacular and exciting. And of course, many city residents also have boats, which they keep in such spacious harbors, protected from the wind and waves. Norwegians love their boats and take care of them as they were another member of the family. By the way, the area next to this harbor is called Paradise, and life here is really great. Trust us. Stavanger holds a very special place in our hearts. Because at the beginning of our long journey through Norway, we lived here for 1.5 years. And it was a pleasant time that we want to remember. In the city center there is a small lake Breivatn, where you can always meet friendly swans and slowly strolling citizens. And the center of Stavanger itself can be divided into several parts. In the new area of the center there are residential buildings with modern architecture and atmosphere. Fully electric and automatic public transport runs through the streets here. Even for Norway, this is a bit unusual. But in the Old Town district, time seems to have stood still. Snow-white houses with tiled roofs smoothly take us back to the past. Many of the houses were built in the 19th century, and people still live here and carefully look after them. In the Old Town, narrow streets intertwine with each other, decorated with the colorful flowers and greenery. Even new houses in Stavanger are often built inspired by the style and mood of the Old Town, and it looks great. Another important part of the center of Stavanger is the seafront area. This is a postcard panorama of the city, as well as the guest harbor and the fish market. Here are located the main restaurants and bars of Stavanger. In general, walking around the center, we always love to explore the city and turn onto the new streets. Once we accidentally discovered the brightly colored street Fargegaten, which was completely out of the general color mood of the city. And also interesting street art. And of course, it's important to mention that another symbol of the city of Stavanger is the cable-stayed bridge. It connects the center with the districts located on the islands. Behind the bridge you can see a picturesque panorama of the mountains, where tourist boats are continuously sailing, because in that direction Lysefjord and Preikestolen are located, where we will go tomorrow. But now let's go to the hill Ulenhau and look at Stavanger from above. While we were driving, the sky again became cloudy. After a short walk uphill, you find yourself on a hill near the TV tower. This has always been our favorite observation deck overlooking the city.
Today weather has changed several times, but anyway, we had a pleasant walk around Stavanger.
And city definitely deserves a visit.
And here are more beautiful shots.
Not far from the TV tower, on the shore of Hafrsfjord, is the main symbol of Stavanger, the swords in rock. They represent the historical battle at Hafrsfjord, which took place here in year 872, when Harald Fairhair became the first king of Norway and united it. The swords symbolize the three main regions of Norway: north, southeast, and southwest. The weather has become wet again and a strong wind has started to blow, which means it's time to go to the campsite for drying.
We lived in Stavanger 10 years ago.
And then it was possible to cross the fjord to other side where Preikestolen is located, only by ferry. But in 2019 the world's longest underwater car tunnel was opened.
And tomorrow we will drive through it.
And at night we had dreams about how we lived in Stavanger. Good morning! The sun is shining and we are leaving the campsite early. Now we are driving along the Hundvåg Island. From here the Ryfylke tunnel begins, which goes deep under the fjord. Construction of the tunnel began in the spring of 2013, and the official opening took place only in December 2019. Ryfylke replaced the ferry between Tau and Stavanger and reduced travel time by 25 minutes. The cost of the project is estimated over 5 billion Norwegian crowns. Unfortunately, the tunnel is tall. The one-way price is 167 crowns. The Ryfylke tunnel is 14 kilometers and 400 meters long, and it is located at a depth of 292 meters under the fjord. And this makes it not only the longest underwater car tunnel, but also the deepest underwater tunnel in the world. Colored lighting is periodically installed along the way. It is needed to avoid boring driving and reduce the psychological stress of being in a confined space. Well, here you can see the end of the longest underwater tunnel. Great! Today here is also sunshine on this side of the fjord. We forgot to turn off GoPro after the tunnel. So we will let you enjoy the views of the road 523 that leads from the tunnel towards Preikestolen.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down.
quickly stop at the campsite to unhook CrazyTroll. Take everything we need for the hike and hit the road again. So, we are on the parking of Preikestolen and we start our hike to the top. Parking here is paid and you definitely won't be back in less than 2 hours. Very smart pricing. From parking lot P1, the trail goes with a rapid incline and you immediately make a serious climb of about 75 meters. And now you find yourself on a plateau. From here you can see the parking where you were just now, but it is already far below. And that is nice. It's easy to walk along the plateau. The main thing to remember to watch your step, not to slip in the stream or trip over a root. After all, the views from here are already very beautiful. The trail is well marked with the red T signs. After the plateau, the second serious climb up begins, which is called Urskar. Here you will have to jump between the stones and part ways with tourists you meet on the trail. These are disadvantages of the hike popularity. And after the climb you find yourself on the bog Rockabilly. There are excellent paths which are pleasant to walk along, and you can even rest a little since the path is straight and flat. And after the bog there is one more serious climb up.
We've been here 10 years ago, just before Sherps built these stone trails. Thank you very much to them, because they help really a lot.
On all the climbs on the trail to Preikestolen you used to have to jump on slippery and uneven stones. And some of the steps are still quite high. But remember that they lift you up more efficiently. Moreover, you can always sit down, rest and enjoy the view. And right after this ascent you will have good news. You have already covered half of the road. And it is also important that it was the last such steep ascent. Now, with small ascents and descents at an altitude of about 530 meters, you will have to walk along a section of the trail called Neverdalskaret. The next stage is the Tjodnane Lakes. Here is another flat section of the trail. Along the way you will come across maps and signs that show you how much is left to the goal. After the lakes and a small climb, you come out onto a trail next to a gorge. Flags fluttering in the wind, colorful padlocks, and bridges on the edge of the cliff make this part of the trail unforgettable. Stop and enjoy the view before the final climb. After which you will immediately see the magnificent Lysefjord. But the path will also become narrower and will go along an impressive cliff with very deep cracks.
Just a little more, only 50 meters left.
So we finally reached Preikestolen, but the weather is quite common for western coast of Norway. Clouds and haze.
Although in the morning and on the way, and even according to the forecast, there was a confident sun, and that is why we hurried here. But there are not many people today, and even no standard queue to take photos. So we can even go right to the edge and look down from the cliff. And also watch how others do it. By the way, Preikestolen is visited by about 300,000 tourists every year, which makes it one of the main attractions of Norway. This giant cliff, 604 meters high above the Lysefjord, was formed during the last ice age, about 10,000 years ago. This unusual shape was created by a glacier that reached the edge of the cliff, froze into the cracks and broke large blocks, which it then carried away. The top of Preikestolen is flat and its area is 25 by 25 meters. By the way, since the ice age, there is still a deep crack here. We already talked about it in our video about dangerous places in Norway, so if you are interested, watch it. But in general, the crack is being monitored and it is not growing significantly. Another interesting fact, since ancient times this cliff was called Hivlatono, or literally Plain's Tooth. But in 1900, when a tourist organization decided to popularize this place, it was renamed into something more interesting and fashionable at the time. This is how appeared the name we all know, Preikestolen or Pulpit Rock. And while we were walking, filming and enjoying the view, the clouds and haze turned into fog. It became damp, chilly, and the view disappeared. So we went back without seeing anything and getting wet in the thick cloud. And at the campsite we had a delicious dinner and a small show about mutual help among campervaners, where everything ended well. And now, although we're tired, it's time to sum up the day.
So, we are back to camping.
And in general, Preikestolen is a great place to check if you are ready for more demanding hikes like Trolltunga.
And of course, check weather forecasts.
And be ready for many tourists on the trail. But now we are going to rest.
Good night! But tomorrow we'll visit one of the most famous lighthouses on the southern coast of Norway. Good morning! Another great Norwegian morning! But it's time to refill our water supplies and move on, hoping for a clearing in the sky. Today we are going the same way, through the Ryfylke tunnel under the fjord. And after, across the Stavanger cable-stayed bridge. By the way, this bridge was opened in 1978 and it was one of the first large cable-stayed bridges in Norway. Well, now we say goodbye to Stavanger and go out to the highway E39, where we are met again by juicy rain.
So, the weather is clearing up and we are on the way to the lighthouse Lindesnes.
And the closer we get to the coast, the lighter the sky becomes.
So, let's go for a walk.
Entrance to the lighthouse is paid and is only possible at certain hours. And there is a great area around for a coastal walk. By the way, Lindesnes is the oldest lighthouse in Norway. Its light was lit in 1656. The cape on which the lighthouse is located was important for navigation between the rocky Norwegian and sandy Danish shores of the Skagerrak Strait. fogs and bad weather are still frequent here, in addition to strong sea currents. Maritime historians call these waters a classic shipwreck area. Lindesnes remains the only lighthouse in Norway with 2 lighthouse keepers. The height of the lighthouse is 16 meters, and you can go up there if you got a ticket. Of course, the lighthouse was rebuilt and improved. Right next to it, you will also find the old hexagonal coal lighthouse. And in 1915, a new cast iron tower was built, inside which we are now located, and where the lens from the old lighthouse was installed. Later in 1920, a new engine room was built and added a fog alarm. So it has been more than 100 years since the Lindesnes lighthouse acquired its final appearance, which has survived to this day.
Lighthouse lights are visible at a distance of 18 nautical miles.
And from above, the fresh sea breeze gives you energy, and a magnificent view opens up in all directions. Here are the coordinates of the parking area near the lighthouse. Be sure to put a star on the map and stop by on your way to Stavanger. And today we still have about 6 hours of driving back. And before it gets dark, we will traditionally make a short stop.
So, it's time to sum up our trip.
And let's start with Preikestolen. And it's an extremely popular place, and there is a lot of tourists. And you should take into account that you will have to wait in a line for a photo, or even let people go through. That's why we prefer less popular, but not less beautiful places.
Like we were absolutely alone at Haugabreen Glacier last year. And the same applies to Norwegian cities.
Norway is not only Oslo and Bergen. Stavanger is a great and very interesting place to explore. But don't forget about Norwegian weather, especially at western coast.
Oh yes, that is what we experience to the fullest.
And that is why proper clothes and shoes are so extremely important. But no matter what, keep traveling yourself and with us.
So subscribe to our channel and see you again.
Or we can continue our journey right now. Let's go straight to Flåm to ride the most picturesque railway road in Norway and then visit the village of real Vikings. Have you already subscribed to our channel? Then see you again!